Alright, in today's video, we're going to demo how to explain dynamic SQL in Db2. So in Db2, we can also explain static SQL store procedure, but for this demo, we're going to see how to explain dynamic SQL. There's a couple of ways in Db2 we can do explain plan or display the access plan for a given SQL query or SQL statement, okay? So in this demo, I listed a couple of methods, and in the Db2, in general, it is a little bit more not that straightforward as like in Oracle or SQL Server. So before we go into the Db2, let's see how Oracle does. It's very simple, okay? So I'm going to log on to an Oracle database. And so, for example, I'm going to run SQL Plus as this DBA. Okay, so let's see a quick example. So in the Oracle, you're going to see set auto trace. And so basically there's options auto trace on, off, and trace only, those kind of options. So we're going to do auto trace, trace explain. So we're going to trace explain, okay? So just want to see for a given SQL statement, what is the, so I'm going to use a very simple one. Let's see, we're going to, let's see, star from DBA tables. Let's try this one. Okay, they gave us the explain plan like this, okay? So you can see that is where the explain plan being generated, okay? It's very long, so maybe like that. Let me use a simple one, okay? And we're gonna use the simplest one, select one from do, okay? So that is the explain plan. It is typically in Oracle, it's relatively simple. You see in this format, okay? So that is fairly straightforward. You have the SQL, you run, and you get it. Of course, there's other ways to do that, but this is just a simple demo, okay? Let's back to our Db2 system. So for Db2, in general, it is there's a similar ones like Oracle's. So I'm going to demo the method one. So the method one is going to the syntax like that, like explain plan for, and then the SQL statement. Okay, so when we run this explain plan for SQL statement, it requires the explain table exists. Okay, exists. If not, we have to create. So I'm going to use this way to create if there's no the explain table. Okay, so we're going to also show the explain table where it's being created. After that, in order to see so when we run the command, it's only populate they pull the explain information into explain the table. After that, we use db2 ex format and extract the access information, plan information. Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to use a sample database. It doesn't matter what database, so I'm going to use a sample database. Let me connect to the sample database, okay? So let's see, I'm going to run a explain plan, okay? So I just run explain plan. 4. So then you give the query. So in my case, I want to use a simple query similar like Oracle ones. Select one from sysIBM. Just for demo, for a simple query, okay, let's do. Okay, I need to connect first. Okay, let me connect the database, connect to sample. All right, let's run the explain plan. So explain plan successfully run. But we don't see the plan. In order to see the plan, we have to run this command, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit this session and run the db2 exmit format, explain format. Then the database name, so in my case is sample. So -1 just say give the default. So I want to see the what the explain look like. Let me cancel this. Maybe -1, not -l. Okay. So now they give us the explain plan. Okay. So you will see from the top, it says, let's see, this is our original query. Then DB2 is going to engine to do a query rewrite. That is the query DB2 is what's going to execute. Then this is the access plan. Okay, so we use like a graphic so to show the access plan, and also there's extended plan detail that is like in the text format. So even for this simple query, you see there's lots of information, right? So if we have a relative real life query, you will see much more information, But for sometimes for troubleshoot, for performance tuning, we do need generate explain plan and to look, okay. So this is the first example used to explain plan. As I said, in my case, I already created this the explain table. So let's take a look at what I mean. Okay, so if I do a list the tables, you will see db2 not here, just list tables. You will see where the explain table was created. Okay, for system. Let's see for schema. Okay. Sys2, it is in the sys2 schema, okay. You need to connect to sys2, okay. You see those are it's called explain table, okay. So let me drop this and look at the second example, okay. So let me drop this explain table. I'll repeat these tables. You see, all those tables related to explain is being dropped, okay? Those one and this one, okay? So this is explain table, okay? Let's look at the second example. The second example is they use this syntax. The first says like set explain mode, okay? So I'm just copy paste, okay? So let's run this one, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set explain or current. I'm missing a keyword, current, I think. Current. Okay. So let me change my text file. So it's being current. All right. Current. Okay. current explain mode. Okay. Now, after you set to the explain mode, and then you can run the text file, the SQL. Okay. So let's use a different SQL. Let's see. I'm going to use X. Okay. Select X from sys IBM dot do. I use a simple query. Okay, just for demo. Now you see it is complaint, right? It says you cannot run because there's those explain tables doesn't exist. So in the real world, typically you need to run this, okay, in order for user to use the explain utility. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and call this one create. Doesn't exist. Let me see. Oh, I mean in that mode. Let me exit this mode, then run that one. Okay, so I have to exit this mode first. Let's see. So exit this mode. Set. Explain off. Explain mode off. Maybe this. Well, let me take off. Let's let me just quit this session, retry. Okay. Db2. Let me do a connect first. So okay, connect. Then we'll create those objects. Okay. So now I'm going to see set current mode to explain. Okay. Oh, yes, I see what is the problem. I had typo. Okay. So set this. Let me repeat off. Current on off. Well, I'll find out later. So now it is in the explain mode. So now we can run the query. So associated, we can run this query. Select something, any query we want to run. Okay, just run this one. You see, it says the statement is executed only for the explain information. Okay, not being actually executed. It's just run explain. So now we can exit this session. We can run the Db2 EX format. Okay. Now let's see our. You see, this is our original query. That is the engine modified query like this, and then this is the access plan. Okay, so this is the second method. Let me see why it is complaining this. Okay, as current. Let me do a Google quick search. I find the syntax. Okay, let's find it. Let me just make a correction. It is called not off. It is no. Okay. All right. So this is the second method. The first method and second method are similar. It's just use a different syntax. The first method use explain plan for. The second use set current explain mode. You can set it into explain or on. So if explain, just explain the SQL. If you set on, then we'll also execute the SQL. Okay, so this is the difference. Because we are mainly interested in the explain plan, so we may not want to just execute. Okay, so that's fine. All right, let's continue. So the third method, it is a Db2 utility called Db2 EX PLN, Db2 explain. But this utility gives like more compact information than method 1 and method 2. Also, it doesn't need explain table to be created. That is a good thing because you you go on a system and you have a SQL statement you want to explain, you can just run this utility. Okay, so before we do that, so let me exit use the session to do that. Okay, so let me get a query. Okay, so I have a simple query. This is my SQL. Okay, so I have a very simple SQL statement. So let me just also modify. Okay, let's see. I call it just the first name, something like that. Okay, so let's see. We're going to use this as example. Okay, so now let's use the Db2 explain utility. Okay, so the Db2 explain utility, they take a parameters. It says which database you want to run. So in my case, it's sample database, and then they take another option. T means terminal. So we're going to display these things on the terminal. The G is give the graphic information. So we will see the graph, not a graphic. The access in the graph. Okay, then followed by, I believe, it is maybe Q for query. So let me run this. Okay, this is actually or S maybe statement. Okay, let's take a look at the help. Okay, so if we use F, that means we ask the T is terminal. Or it is output file if you want to save something. And Q is the single statement. So I'm going to run this twice. Okay, the first one. So I'm going to use Q. So I'm going to run a SQL statement. Let me get the SQL. Okay, so I'm going to explain this way. So I've just copied the SQL statement. So typically, if your SQL is small, you can just run this way. Okay, so we're going to run this. Let's take a quick look. First name, maybe first name like this. Okay, so you see at the end of this output file, they give us, ask this is the access plan, so we can read. Because this video is not talking about how to read this access plan, so it's just very big topic, so there's lots of information. So basically, we can just see like from here, how many row returned, what kind of operator, and the operation ID, the cost. Mainly the cost is important. Okay. Also the cardinality is called the row. How many rows being, those so on and so forth. Okay, this is one way. So another way it is we're gonna first name. Okay. The same thing. So instead of use -q, we use -f to read a file. Okay. So in this way, we're gonna read a file. So this is our query, it's our file, right? So we're gonna do see. You see, we get a and statement. Maybe let me edit this one more. Okay, let's like this. Okay, I think I see what problem. So we need to specify the terminate later. Okay, this is mine. In my case, we use a semicolon, right? So if you don't want to use semicolon, we can use, let's see, @ sign. Okay. So in this way, when you run this, you're gonna change this to @ sign. Okay. Get the same execution plan. Also, if you see the the upper portion of this X, it's a small sample, it's very relatively easy to read. However, as I said, this is the compact information, may not have the exact same information as the method 1 and 2. But if we compare this Oracle's situation, I think it should be good enough for us in most cases to, to look at the execution plan and to see where the maybe the problem is. Okay, so that is method 3. So method 1, 2, 3, all it is command line based. It's CLI based, and I personally more like this one because I don't have to deal with this format. Also, I don't have to deal with the create explain table. All right, so let's go to the, before I go to the third or fourth one, that is the GUI. We're going to use IBM Data Studio. Let me go back to, let me do the cleanup. So I'm going to do the cleanup. So I'm going to clean up those. I need to connect first. Okay, connect to sample. All right, so let's drop those. Okay, so did a cleanup. All right, now I'm going to open a IBM session. So I'm going to see, I already connected. Let me start from scratch, okay? So let's see. So this is our system. So we're gonna connect to this one, okay? So let me just, let's, so we need, let me disconnect this guy, okay? Yes, disconnect. Okay, so disconnected. So let's start. Okay, so I'm going to connect from the my IBM Data Studio. So this is the database we're going to work, and the same database from the command line. Okay, so if you see the table, this is the sample database. So we're going to run a query similarly, okay? So we're going to run a query. Let's see, we're going to run a query. So let's start from employee, okay? Employee. Just a query. So let's run this query. Okay, let's see the result. Yeah, so this is the query result. So to display the explain access plan or explain plan. So you see here this icon, it says open visual explain. So if we click this one, click next or finish, okay, we get an error. It says because we don't have explain table exist. To fix this issue, so we have to create. So now let's create. So either the database administrator create or the user can create by themselves. Okay, if they have privilege. Okay, so I'm gonna create those tables. Okay, so let's go back to the run it again. Now you see it's finished. So that is called visual explain. So if you hover to this each node, they will see like here. This is operation. This is a node table. You see, this is the table. Let's use a different one. So if I join like a department, and run it again. But this time it's a little bit more data, but that's fine. And then let's look at the explain again. Now you see this two table join, this citation join between these two, okay? But they use nested loop join. So this is the way it's called a visual explain if we use the GUI, okay? So this is another way to look at the execution plan. Well, sometimes the term is mixed, you know. In Oracle, it's called execution plan. Db2, it's access plan. SQL Server execution plan, maybe. So something in the mixed term, okay? Anyway, so that is the false method, okay? So all these for method, we just demonstrate. That means you have a query for you to explain, but sometimes you don't have the query. So what you need to do, for example, in the real world troubleshooting performance, you might need to go to the package cache or SQL cache to find what the a query from the cache, and then you explain it to see. Especially you find the top top CPU queries or top IO or top long running query, right? So once you get a query, you can use 1, 2, 3, 4 method, or you can just go to the the SQL cache and get the query. Okay, so the method file is going to use IBM provided store procedure to do that. Before we do that, so let's see, we're going to use this package cache as example. So we're going to select the query from the package cache and find the one we needed to explain, okay? So let's do a connection. So I'm going to connect to the sample database, then run this one, okay? So I'm going to run this. In the real time, you probably see order by like CPU time, for example, okay? Just CPU time, something like that, okay? CPU time maybe it's not there because I just run this one, okay? Okay, you see this is the SQL in this SQL cache. So if you do an order by, you might find the one you're interested, okay? So let's see, we're interested in this one. We're interested in this query, okay? To explain this query using the store procedure, what you need to do, you need this the value for this column called executable ID. That is a long string. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this this string. Okay. All right. So once you have this string, of course you can you can also copy the text, but sometimes the text may be very long. Okay, and so also we're going to demo use the store procedure. So we use this store procedure. Okay. So now we're going to use the procedure called explain from section. Okay, so that is the stop procedure we're going to use, right? So this is the fifth method. Okay, and then followed by this executable ID. Okay, so we're going to follow this one. This is the executable ID, and then followed by the rest of the argument. Okay. Okay, so it's almost ready. So this word M that is means from memory cache is basically this one from the earlier we queried the package cache, okay? So rest of some default value, okay? So we just return. Now you see this SQL statement has been explained. However, we don't know the what is the access plan look like. Now we can go to the another command similar. We need to use the explain format utility. This one. So in real life, you might using this explain time, but for simplicity, I just use this one that is give the most recent explain. Okay. So you will see you see the query here. You see we explain this one, right? So that's a good thing. Okay. If you want to save to a file, you can see like query.log. Okay. Or format or whatever you call it, okay? So you can later review this, the formatted for troubleshoot in the real world, okay? So this is this is the SQL statement, the user provided, application provided. This is the one IBM engine rewrite this query. It's called optimized query. And then this is the access plan. And this is the detailed, okay? All right, so there's probably some other method, maybe one or two. I'm not going to dig, but this is the primarily the method used in the Db2. It's not complicated, but just want sorted here. So hopefully they will be useful for people working in the Db2 community. All right, that's all